Chosen ones, an emergency update is unfolding right now. Judgment is being released from heaven, and God has declared that justice will strike quickly. You're not here by chance. Your soul was called to this moment, to hear this divine message that's about to shift everything in your life. Something massive is happening in the spiritual realm, and it's coming for you with unstoppable force. God is moving, clearing the path for His chosen ones, and you're about to witness His power in ways that will leave you speechless. Right now, heaven's gates are swinging wide open, and the Almighty is pouring out His verdict. Every obstacle, every enemy, every chain that's held you back is being shattered. The scales of justice are tipping in your favor, and God's hand is sweeping away what's tried to block your destiny. This isn't just a promise, it's a divine decree. The battles you've fought, the tears you've shed, the moments you thought you couldn't go on, they're all being redeemed. God sees you. He knows your struggles, and He's saying, enough is enough. Pause for a second, feel that truth sink in, and hit that like button to amplify this message. Comment 777 below to declare you're ready for this divine justice. That number carries the power of God's perfect will, and by typing it, you're aligning yourself with His unstoppable plan. Stay with me, because this message is for you, and it's going to change everything. The judgment being released isn't just about punishment, it's about restoration. God is setting things right. Those who've wronged you, who've mocked your faith, who've tried to dim your light, they're about to see the consequences of their actions. But for you, chosen one, this is about elevation. God is lifting you above the chaos, placing you in a position where His favor shines so brightly, no one can ignore it. Your enemies thought they could bury you, but they didn't know you were a seed planted by God Himself. Think about Joseph, sold into slavery, thrown into prison, forgotten by those he helped. The world saw him as defeated, but God was writing a different story. Every betrayal, every closed door, every moment of pain was part of a divine setup. When God's judgment came, it wasn't just about punishing the wicked. It was about raising Joseph to a throne no one could have imagined. You're standing in that same moment now. The trials you've faced weren't random. They were preparing you for a destiny so big, it will shake the foundations of your life. Your role in this moment is simple but powerful. Stand firm. You don't need to fight the battles God's already won. The judgment He's releasing is His work, not yours. All you need to do is trust and stay ready. The doors that were locked are being flung open. The opportunities you thought were lost are being restored. The wealth, health, and peace that were stolen are being returned sevenfold. Comment 777 now to claim that promise, to let the heavens know you're standing in faith. This divine judgment isn't slow. God said justice will strike quickly, and when He moves, it's like lightning splitting the sky. One moment, you're in the wilderness. The next, you're walking into a promised land you didn't even know was waiting. Look at Esther, days away from destruction, her people facing annihilation. But when God's judgment moved, it was swift. Haman's schemes collapsed overnight, and Esther went from a hidden orphan to a queen who changed history. That same speed, that same power, is coming for you. You might be wondering, why now? Why is this emergency update hitting your spirit with such urgency? Because God's timing is perfect, and this is your appointed hour. The world is shifting, spiritual forces are aligning, and heaven is acting on your behalf. The delays you faced weren't denials, they were divine pauses, preparing you for a breakthrough so massive it will rewrite your story. You're not just surviving, you're stepping into a season of supernatural overflow. If this message is stirring your soul, subscribe to join thousands of chosen one souls receiving these divine revelations. Your presence here is no accident. You're part of a movement of light, a community of faith that's rising together. Let's keep moving forward, because God's not done speaking. This isn't just about justice for what's been done to you, it's about justice for who you're becoming. God isn't just clearing your past, He's securing your future. Every moment you've felt overlooked, every time you've been underestimated, every wound you've carried, it's all being transformed into a testimony of His power. The world will see you and know that God's hand is on your life. Your glow, your confidence, your unshakable peace will speak louder than any words. Consider David, a shepherd boy facing a giant no one else dared to challenge. The judgment of heaven wasn't just about defeating Goliath. It was about revealing David's destiny as a king. That stone he slung wasn't just a weapon. It was a declaration that God's chosen ones don't bow to fear. You're carrying that same stone now, chosen one. Whatever giants stand in your way, poverty, doubt, opposition, are about to fall. God's judgment is your vindication. Don't let the weight of this moment scare you. Yes, it's big. Yes, it's intense. But you were made for this. Your spirit has been forged in fire, tested through trials, and shaped by God's own hand. You're not fragile, you're unbreakable. The judgment being released isn't here to overwhelm you, it's here to empower you. Comment 777 one more time to seal that truth in your heart, to let the universe know you're ready to receive what God has prepared. This emergency update carries a warning and a promise. The warning is for those who've stood against you, who've tried to block your path. Their time is up. God's justice is moving, and it will not be delayed. But the promise is for you, chosen one. The promise is that your season of lack is over. Your season of struggle is ending. Your season of waiting is done. God is opening doors no one can shut, pouring out blessings no one can stop, and placing you in rooms no one can remove you from. Picture Noah building an ark while the world laughed. They called him crazy, mocked his faith, dismissed his warnings. But when God's judgment came, it wasn't just about destruction, it was about salvation. Noah's obedience positioned him for a new beginning, a world washed clean, a legacy that outlived the flood. You're building your ark right now, chosen one. Every step of faith, every moment of trust, every prayer you've whispered in the dark, it's all constructing something eternal. You might feel the weight of this moment, the urgency of God's voice calling you to rise. That's not fear you're feeling, it's power. It's the stirring of a destiny that's been waiting for you since before you were born. God's judgment isn't just about settling scores, it's about setting you free. Free from the chains of your past, free from the lies that held you back, free to walk in the fullness of who He created you to be. This message is alive, chosen one. It's not just words, it's a divine signal, a call to step into the greatest chapter of your life. The judgment from heaven is clearing the way, breaking every barrier, and preparing a path for your victory. You're not just a bystander in this moment, you're the center of it. God is moving mountains for you, silencing your accusers, and lifting you to a place where His glory shines through you. Think of Daniel in the lion's den. The world expected him to be torn apart, but God's judgment shut the mouths of the lions. That den wasn't a place of defeat. It was a stage for God's power. You're standing in your own den right now, and the lions of fear, doubt, and opposition are being silenced. God's justice is your shield. His favor is your sword, and His promise is your victory. Comment 777 one last time to stand in that truth, to declare that you're ready for what's coming. This isn't a moment to shrink back, it's a moment to stand tall. The judgment being released from heaven is rewriting your story, redirecting your path, and redefining your future. You're not just receiving blessings, you're becoming a blessing. Your life is about to become a living testament to God's faithfulness, a beacon of hope for everyone who sees you. The world will look at you and know that something supernatural is at work. Right now, God is aligning divine connections for you. People who will lift you up, opportunities that will propel you forward, resources that will overflow. This isn't about chasing wealth or success. It's about receiving what God has already prepared. The judgment He's releasing is making room for your abundance, clearing out anything that doesn't belong in your story. You're stepping into a season where lack has no place, where fear has no power, and where your purpose shines brighter than ever. Look at Ruth, a woman who lost everything: her home, her husband, her security. Yet in her faithfulness, God's judgment moved. Boaz wasn't just a man, he was a divine connection, a door to a future Ruth couldn't have imagined. That same God is moving for you now, placing you in the right place, at the right time, with the right people. Your story isn't over, it's just beginning, and it's bigger than you can dream. If this message is setting your spirit on fire, subscribe to join thousands of chosen one souls walking this path together. Stay locked in, because God's not finished with you yet. His judgment is active, His justice is swift, and His promises are sure. You're about to see miracles unfold in real time, blessings that will make your heart sing, and victories that will leave no doubt God is fighting for you. This emergency update is a call to action, but not the kind you might think. You don't need to strive or struggle. Your action is faith. Your weapon is trust. Your victory is already secured. God's judgment is moving like a tidal wave, washing away what's held you back and bringing you into a new season of overflow. The pain of your past is being transformed into purpose. The losses you've endured are being turned into gain. The battles you've fought are becoming your testimony. Consider Moses, standing before the Red Sea with an army at his back and nowhere to go. The world saw an impossible situation, but God saw an opportunity for His judgment to shine. The sea parted, the enemy fell, and Moses walked into his destiny. You're at your own Red Sea moment, chosen one. What looks impossible is about to become your miracle. God's justice is parting the way, and you're walking through on dry ground. You might be feeling a shift in your spirit right now, a sense that something big is coming. That's not just a feeling, it's God speaking to you. He's telling you to get ready, to lift your head, to prepare your heart for what's about to unfold. The judgment from heaven is not just about righting wrongs, it's about launching you into a future where you thrive. You're not just surviving, you're shining, radiating God's glory in a way that draws others to Him. This is bigger than you, chosen one. The justice God is releasing through you is a sign to the world. Your life will become a billboard of His faithfulness, a living proof that He keeps His promises. People who doubted you will see His hand on your life. Those who hurt you will witness His favor over you. Your story is becoming a testimony that will inspire generations, a legacy that will outlast you. Think of Job, who lost everything: his wealth, his family, his health. Yet God's judgment didn't just restore what was taken, it doubled it. Job's faithfulness in the face of suffering became a story that echoes through time. Your suffering, your trials, your moments of doubt, they're not the end. They're the setup for a comeback so powerful it will shake the heavens. God's justice is rewriting your story, and it's going to be glorious. You're not just receiving a blessing, you're becoming a blessing. The judgment from heaven is positioning you to impact lives, to shift atmospheres, to bring hope where there was despair. Your wealth isn't just financial. It's spiritual, emotional, and relational. God is filling your hands so you can pour out to others, so you can be a light in a world that desperately needs it. Your life is about to become a living sermon, preaching God's power without saying a word. Right now, God is moving in ways you can't yet see. He's orchestrating events, aligning resources, and preparing hearts to receive what He's doing through you. The judgment He's releasing is clearing the way for your purpose to shine. You're not just a participant in this moment, you're the vessel through which God's justice flows. Your faith, your obedience, your trust, they're the keys that unlock the floodgates of heaven. Look at Nehemiah, tasked with rebuilding a broken city against impossible odds. The world mocked him, enemies opposed him, but God's judgment moved. The walls went up, the city was restored, and Nehemiah's faith became a legacy. You're rebuilding your own walls right now, chosen one. Every prayer, every step of faith, every moment of trust is laying a brick in the foundation of your destiny. God's justice is your strength, and nothing can stop you. This emergency update is a reminder that you're not alone. God is with you, fighting for you, moving mountains on your behalf. The judgment from heaven is not just about what's happening now, it's about what's coming. A future where you walk in abundance, where your purpose is clear, where your life radiates God's glory. You're not just stepping into blessings, you're stepping into a divine calling that will change everything. Consider Paul, once a persecutor, transformed by God's judgment into a preacher who shook the world. His past didn't define him, God's justice redefined him. Your past doesn't define you either, chosen one. Every mistake, every failure, every moment of weakness is being swept away by God's verdict. You're being redefined, reshaped, and relaunched into a destiny that will leave the world in awe. This is your moment to rise. The judgment being released is not just about justice, it's about empowerment. God is giving you the strength to stand taller, the wisdom to walk bolder, and the faith to dream bigger. You're not just receiving a breakthrough, you're becoming a breakthrough for others. Your life will be a testament to God's power, a living proof that His justice never fails. Right now, the heavens are moving. Angels are being dispatched. Resources are being aligned. Opportunities are being created. The judgment from heaven is setting the stage for your greatest season yet. You're not just a spectator, you're the star of this divine drama, the one God has chosen to display His glory through. Your life is about to become a masterpiece of His grace. Think of Elijah, standing alone against the prophets of Baal. The world saw a lone man, but God saw a vessel for His judgment. Fire fell, the false prophets fell, and Elijah's faith became a story for the ages. You're standing in your own moment of fire, chosen one. The judgment from heaven is calling down miracles, silencing doubters, and proving that God's power is unstoppable in your life. You might feel the weight of this message pressing on your spirit. That's God speaking, urging you to step into what He's prepared. The judgment being released is not just about righting wrongs, it's about launching you into a destiny you were born for. You're not just surviving this season, you're thriving in it, radiating a light that no darkness can touch. This emergency update is a call to stand ready. God's justice is moving, and it's moving fast. The chains that held you are breaking. The doors that were shut are opening. The dreams you thought were dead are coming back to life. You're not just walking into a new season, you're stepping into a divine transformation that will mark you forever as God's chosen one. Consider Mary, a young woman chosen for a purpose that seemed impossible. The world saw an ordinary girl, but God saw a vessel for his greatest miracle. Her obedience, her faith, her trust, they changed history. Your obedience, your faith, your trust, they're changing your story right now. God's judgment is paving the way for your miracle, and it's closer than you think. This is not a moment to doubt. It's a moment to believe. The judgment from heaven is clearing every obstacle, silencing every critic, and opening every door. You're not just receiving blessings, you're becoming a blessing, a light, a testimony. God's justice is rewriting your future, and it's going to be more beautiful than you ever imagined. Right now, God is moving in the unseen. He's shifting circumstances, aligning opportunities, and preparing your heart for what's next. The judgment he's releasing is not just about what's been done to you, it's about what he's doing through you. You're being positioned for greatness, chosen one, and no one can stop what God has started. Look at Lazarus, dead for 4 days, wrapped in grave clothes, written off by everyone. But when God's judgment moved, death itself had to bow. Lazarus walked out of that tomb, alive and whole, a living testimony of God's power. You're walking out of your own tomb now, chosen one. The things that tried to bury you are being overturned. God's justice is bringing you back to life. This emergency update is a divine alarm, waking you up to the reality of what's happening. Heaven is moving, and you're at the center of it. The judgment being released is not just about settling scores, it's about setting you free to live the life God always intended, a life of purpose, abundance, and unshakable peace. Think of the woman at the well, carrying years of shame, rejected by her community. But when Jesus spoke, God's judgment rewrote her story. She went from outcast to evangelist in a single moment. That same transformation is happening for you, chosen one. God's justice is turning your shame into glory, your pain into purpose, your past into a platform for His power. You're not just hearing this message, you're living it. The judgment from heaven is active in your life right now, breaking chains, opening doors, and lifting you higher. You're not just a survivor, you're a conqueror, a light, a chosen one. God's justice is your foundation, and your future is built on His unshakable promises. Consider Jonah, running from God's call, swallowed by a fish, thinking it was over. But God's judgment wasn't about destruction, it was about redirection. Jonah was spit out onto dry land, sent to fulfill his purpose. You're being redirected now, chosen one. The things that tried to swallow you are spitting you out into your destiny. God's justice is making a way. This is your moment to shine. The judgment from heaven is not just clearing your path, it's illuminating it. You're not just walking into blessings, you're walking into a divine calling that will change the world around you. Your life is becoming a testament to God's power, a proof that His justice never fails. Right now, God is moving mountains for you. The judgment He's releasing is shaking the foundations of everything that's tried to hold you back. You're not just receiving a breakthrough, you're becoming one. Your faith, your trust, your obedience, they're unlocking a future so bright it will blind your enemies and inspire everyone who sees you. Think of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, standing in a furnace that should have consumed them, but God's judgment turned the fire into a testimony. They walked out unharmed, their faith unshaken, their God glorified. You're walking out of your furnace now, chosen one. God's justice is protecting you, elevating you, and making your life a living miracle. This emergency update is a divine wake-up call. The judgment from heaven is moving, and it's moving for you. The chains are breaking, the doors are opening, the blessings are flowing. You're not just stepping into a new season, you're stepping into a new identity, a new purpose, a new life. God's justice is your victory, and it's happening now. This moment is electric, chosen one. The judgment from heaven is not just a distant promise, it's a living force, surging through your life right now. God's justice is rewriting the rules of your reality, dismantling every lie that said you're not enough, every barrier that tried to confine you, every voice that dared to doubt your calling. You're standing on holy ground, where the impossible becomes possible, where the unseen becomes seen, and where God's verdict is final. Look at Gideon, a man hiding in a winepress, called the least in his family. The world saw weakness, but God saw a warrior. His judgment transformed Gideon's fear into courage, his doubt into destiny. That same transformation is happening for you. The places where you've felt small, overlooked, or unworthy are being flooded with God's light. You're not just rising, you're roaring, stepping into a strength you didn't know you had. The justice God is releasing is precise. It's not random or scattered, it's targeted, aimed directly at the strongholds in your life. Every area where you've been held back, finances, relationships, health, is under heaven's spotlight. God is moving with surgical accuracy, cutting away what doesn't belong and planting what will flourish. You're not just being freed, you're being fortified, built up to withstand anything that comes your way. Picture the walls of Jericho, standing tall, mocking Israel's faith. But when God's judgment moved, those walls didn't just crack, they crumbled. Your walls are crumbling now, chosen one. The obstacles that seemed permanent, the problems that felt unbeatable, they're falling apart under the weight of God's justice. You don't need to push, you just need to walk, trusting that He's already cleared the way. This emergency update is a divine signal, a flare shot into the sky of your soul. God is saying, now is the time. The judgment He's releasing is not just about righting wrongs, it's about igniting your purpose. You're not just receiving blessings, you're becoming a conduit for them, a vessel through which God's power flows. Your life is about to spark change, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Think of Deborah, a prophetess leading a nation in a time of fear. She didn't wait for permission or approval. She stood in God's judgment, declaring victory before the battle began. You're standing in that same authority now. The justice from heaven is giving you a voice, a boldness, a clarity that can't be ignored. You're not just walking through this season, you're leading it, guiding others with the light God has placed in you. The speed of this judgment is breathtaking. God said justice will strike quickly, and He means it. The delays you faced, the moments you thought God forgot you, they were never abandonment, they were preparation. Like a bow pulled back, your life has been stretched, ready to launch into a future that hits every target God has set. You're not just moving forward, you're soaring, propelled by His unstoppable will. Consider the Samaritan woman, broken by her past, shunned by her community. Yet in one encounter with Jesus, God's judgment turned her shame into a story of redemption. She became a voice for truth, a woman who changed her city. Your past doesn't disqualify you, it qualifies you. The justice from heaven is taking every wound, every mistake, and turning it into a platform for God's glory. You're about to change your world. This is not a passive moment, chosen one. The judgment from heaven is active, alive, and moving through you. You're not just a spectator, you're a participant, a warrior in God's army, a light in His plan. The justice He's releasing is equipping you with everything you need: wisdom, strength, favor, to step into the fullness of your calling. You're not just surviving this moment, you're shaping it. Look at Elisha, who called down fire from heaven to consume the altar. The world saw a man, but God saw a prophet whose faith could shift atmospheres. You're carrying that same fire now, chosen one. The judgment from heaven is igniting your spirit, burning away doubt, and setting your purpose ablaze. You're not just walking into blessings, you're carrying the fire of God's justice into every room you enter. This emergency update is a divine wake-up call, shaking you out of complacency. God's justice is not just clearing your path, it's calling you to run on it. You're not meant to crawl through this season. You're meant to sprint, to chase the vision God has planted in your heart. The judgment He's releasing is giving you the strength to move faster, dream bigger, and live bolder than ever before. Think of Rahab, a woman with a past that should have disqualified her. Yet when God's judgment moved, she wasn't just spared, she was elevated, woven into the lineage of Christ. Your past doesn't limit you, it positions you. The justice from heaven is taking every choice, every stumble, and weaving it into a story of redemption that will echo through generations. You're not just being saved, you're being celebrated. The judgment from heaven is not just about what's happening now, it's about what's coming. God is setting you up for a future that overflows with His goodness. The doors He's opening lead to rooms filled with abundance, purpose, and peace. You're not just stepping into a new chapter, you're stepping into a new book, one where every page declares His faithfulness. Your life is about to become a masterpiece of His grace. Consider Peter, who denied Jesus 3 times, thinking his failure defined him. But God's judgment didn't condemn him, it restored him. Peter became the rock on which the church was built. Your failures don't define you, chosen one. The justice from heaven is turning your mistakes into miracles, your regrets into redemption. You're not just recovering, you're rising, stronger than ever. This moment is sacred. The judgment being released is not just about justice, it's about transformation. God is reshaping your heart, your mind, your life. The things that once held you back, fear, shame, doubt, are being burned away in the fire of His justice. You're not just being set free, you're being set apart, marked as His chosen one, destined for greatness. Look at the prodigal son, who squandered everything and thought he was unworthy. But when he returned, God's judgment didn't reject him, it embraced him. The father ran to meet him, restoring his place as a son. God is running to you now, chosen one, with open arms. His justice is restoring your identity, your purpose, your place. You're not just coming home, you're being crowned. The urgency of this emergency update is real. Heaven is moving at a pace that demands your attention. The judgment God is releasing is not just breaking chains. It's building bridges, connecting you to the people, places, and purposes He's prepared. You're not just walking into blessings, you're walking into a divine network, a web of favor that God has woven just for you. Think of Hannah, crying out in her barrenness, mocked by those around her. But when God's judgment moved, her womb was opened, and she gave birth to Samuel, a prophet who changed Israel. Your barren places, your dreams, your hopes, your prayers are about to bear fruit. The justice from heaven is turning your cries into victories, your waiting into worship. You're not just hoping, you're harvesting. This is not a moment to hesitate. The judgment from heaven is clearing the way for you to step boldly into your calling. God is giving you the courage to say yes to His plans, to walk through the doors He's opening, to embrace the future He's writing. You're not just receiving a breakthrough, you're becoming a breakthrough, a living testament to His power and love. Consider Zacchaeus, a man despised by his community, small in stature and smaller in reputation. But when God's judgment moved, he wasn't just seen, he was transformed. Jesus called him by name, and his life became a story of redemption. God is calling you by name now, chosen one. His justice is lifting you out of obscurity, placing you in the center of his plan. You're not just noticed, you're needed. The judgment from heaven is a divine reset. Everything that's been out of alignment in your life, relationships, finances, health, is being brought into order. God's justice is not just punishing what's wrong, it's establishing what's right. You're not just being restored, you're being rebuilt, stronger, wiser, and more radiant than ever before. Look at Jonah, who thought he could outrun God's call. But when the storm came, God's judgment didn't destroy him, it redirected him. You're being redirected now, chosen one. The storms you faced weren't meant to sink you. They were meant to steer you toward your purpose. The justice from heaven is setting your course straight, guiding you to a destiny that shines with God's glory. This emergency update is a clarion call. The judgment God is releasing is not just about what's happening around you, it's about what's happening within you. Your heart is being purified, your mind is being renewed, your spirit is being strengthened. You're not just stepping into a new season, you're stepping into a new version of yourself, one that reflects God's image in ways you never imagined. Think of Mary Magdalene, a woman haunted by her past, yet chosen to be the first to see the risen Christ. God's judgment didn't define her by her demons, it defined her by her devotion. Your past doesn't hold you, chosen one. The justice from heaven is redefining you, rewriting your story, and revealing your true identity. You're not just healed, you're holy, set apart for God's purpose. The speed of this judgment is relentless. God said, justice will strike quickly, and he's not slowing down. The blessings coming your way are moving at the speed of his will, overtaking you before you can even prepare. You're not just catching up to your destiny, you're being catapulted into it, launched into a future where every promise God made is fulfilled. Consider the thief on the cross, a man with no time left, no good deeds to offer. Yet in one moment, God's judgment spoke life over him, promising paradise. Your time isn't up, chosen one. The justice from heaven is speaking life over you now, promising a future that overflows with his goodness. You're not just surviving, you're thriving, stepping into a paradise prepared just for you. This moment is pivotal. The judgment from heaven is not just clearing your path, it's igniting your potential. God is awakening gifts within you, talents you didn't know you had, dreams you thought were too big. You're not just receiving blessings, you're becoming a blessing, a force of God's love and power in a world that needs it. Your life is about to shine so brightly, it will draw others to him. Look at Esther's cousin, Mordecai, a man who stood at the gate, overlooked by the powerful. But when God's judgment moved, he was lifted to a place of honor, his faithfulness rewarded. You're standing at your own gate, chosen one. The justice from heaven is lifting you, honoring your faith, and placing you where your influence will change lives. You're not just seen, you're celebrated. The judgment being released is a divine declaration. God is saying, "You are mine, and I am fighting for you." Every attack against you, every lie spoken over you, every chain that tried to bind you, it's all being broken. You're not just stepping into freedom, you're stepping into authority, a place where your words carry weight, your actions shift atmospheres, and your life declares God's glory. Think of John the Baptist, a voice crying in the wilderness, preparing the way for Jesus. The world saw a wild man, but God saw a prophet whose words shook a nation. Your voice is rising now, chosen one. The justice from heaven is amplifying your words, your prayers, your purpose. You're not just speaking, you're proclaiming, preparing the way for God's power to move through you. This emergency update is a divine summons. The judgment from heaven is calling you to stand taller, love deeper, and believe stronger. You're not just receiving a breakthrough, you're becoming a beacon, a light that pierces the darkness. God's justice is equipping you to shine in places you never thought you'd reach, to touch lives you never thought you'd impact. Consider the boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish, insignificant in the eyes of the world. But when God's judgment moved, his small offering fed thousands. Your small steps of faith, your quiet moments of obedience, they're about to feed nations. The justice from heaven is multiplying your resources, your influence, your impact. You're not just giving, you're overflowing. The judgment from heaven is relentless, chosen one. It's not stopping, not slowing, not wavering. God is moving with a force that shakes the earth, aligning every detail of your life with his perfect plan. You're not just walking into blessings, you're walking into a divine rhythm, a flow of favor that carries you effortlessly into your purpose. Look at Abraham, called to leave everything familiar for a promise he couldn't yet see. God's judgment didn't just lead him, it transformed him into the father of nations. You're being called now, chosen one, to step out in faith, to trust the unseen. The justice from heaven is turning your steps into a legacy, your faith into a foundation for generations. This is not a moment to second guess. The judgment being released is sealing your destiny, locking in God's promises over your life. You're not just hoping for a better future, you're stepping into it, claiming it, living it. The justice from heaven is your assurance, your guarantee that what God has spoken will come to pass. Think of Miriam, who danced in victory after the Red Sea parted. Her song wasn't just celebration, it was prophecy, declaring God's faithfulness. You're singing your own song now, chosen one. The justice from heaven is turning your trials into triumphs, your pain into praise. You're not just surviving, you're dancing, proclaiming God's victory over your life. The urgency of this emergency update is undeniable. God's judgment is moving like a mighty wind, sweeping away what doesn't belong and planting what will grow. You're not just receiving blessings, you're becoming a garden, a place where God's goodness flourishes. Your life is about to bloom in ways that will leave the world in awe. Consider Ezekiel, who spoke to dry bones and saw them live. God's judgment didn't just revive bones, it restored a nation. Your dry places, your dreams, your hopes, your prayers are coming alive now. The justice from heaven is breathing life into what seemed dead, turning your wilderness into a place of miracles. You're not just hoping, you're prophesying. This moment is yours, chosen one. The judgment from heaven is not just about what God is doing, it's about who you're becoming. You're being shaped into a vessel of his glory, a carrier of his power, a light in his plan. You're not just stepping into a new season, you're stepping into a new identity, one that radiates God's justice and love. Look at Naomi, who lost everything and thought her story was over. But God's judgment turned her bitterness into blessing, her loss into legacy. You're standing in your own turning point now, chosen one. The justice from heaven is rewriting your story, turning your sorrow into joy, your lack into abundance. You're not just recovering, you're reigning. The judgment being released is a divine fire, burning away what's held you back and refining what's meant to shine. You're not just being cleansed, you're being crowned, marked as God's chosen one, destined to walk in his favor. The justice from heaven is your foundation, your strength, your victory, and it's moving now, faster than you can imagine. The judgment from heaven is a divine current, chosen one, pulling you into a flow of God's purpose that nothing can stop. It's not just breaking barriers, it's building highways, straight paths for you to walk into the destiny He's designed. Every step you take now is guided, every move you make is anointed. You're not just moving forward, you're being carried by the unstoppable force of God's justice, surging toward a future that shines with His glory. Think of Joshua standing before the Jordan River, the promised land just out of reach. The world saw an obstacle, but God's judgment saw a miracle. The waters parted, and Joshua led a nation into their inheritance. You're at your own Jordan now, chosen one. The justice from heaven is parting the waters of impossibility, making a way where there seemed to be none. You're not just crossing over, you're claiming what's yours. This emergency update is a divine broadcast sent straight from heaven to your spirit. God's judgment is not just settling scores, it's igniting a fire within you, a passion for His purpose that burns brighter with every passing moment. You're not just receiving blessings, you're becoming a flame, a beacon that draws others to God's truth. Your life is about to set hearts ablaze with hope and faith. Consider Lydia, a seller of purple cloth, quietly faithful in her small corner of the world. When God's judgment moved, she became a cornerstone of the early church, her home a hub for His mission. Your small acts of faith, your quiet obedience, they're not small in God's eyes. The justice from heaven is turning your faithfulness into a foundation, your service into a legacy. You're not just living, you're building. The judgment being released is a divine recalibration. It's aligning every part of your life, your thoughts, your desires, your actions, with God's perfect will. You're not just being blessed, you're being synchronized, tuned to the frequency of heaven's plan. The justice from heaven is fine-tuning your spirit, making you a clear channel for His power to flow through. You're stepping into a rhythm where every move is divine. Look at Abigail, who faced a crisis with wisdom and grace. Her quick thinking turned a king's wrath into mercy, saving lives and securing her future. God's judgment didn't just spare her, it elevated her. You're facing your own crises now, chosen one, but the justice from heaven is giving you wisdom to navigate them, grace to overcome them. You're not just surviving, you're strategizing, turning challenges into victories. This moment is alive with God's presence. The judgment He's releasing is not just clearing your path, it's charging it with divine energy. You're not just walking into opportunities, you're radiating them, drawing favor like a magnet. The justice from heaven is making you a center of gravity, a force that pulls blessings, connections, and miracles into your orbit. Your life is becoming a hub of God's goodness. Think of Cornelius, a Gentile whose prayers caught God's attention. His faithfulness triggered a divine encounter that opened salvation to the nations. Your prayers, your faith, your trust, they're catching heaven's ear now, chosen one. The justice from heaven is responding, sending divine encounters that will shift your life and impact those around you. You're not just praying, you're prophesying, calling forth God's plan. The judgment from heaven is a divine spotlight, shining on every hidden part of your story. The things you've buried, your dreams, your hopes, your potential, are being uncovered. God's justice is not just punishing what's wrong, it's revealing what's right, exposing the treasures He's placed within you. You're not just being restored, you're being revealed, unveiled as a masterpiece of His grace. Consider Bartimaeus, a blind beggar who refused to stay silent. When he cried out to Jesus, God's judgment didn't just heal his eyes, it gave him a new identity. You're crying out now, chosen one, and the justice from heaven is answering. Your voice is being heard, your vision is being restored, your identity is being redefined. You're not just shouting, you're stepping into a new name, a new purpose. This emergency update is a divine summons, calling you to rise higher than you've ever gone. The judgment from heaven is not just breaking chains, it's building wings, giving you the ability to soar above every limitation. You're not just escaping your past, you're flying into your future, carried by the wind of God's justice. Your life is about to reach heights you never thought possible. Look at Jochebed, Moses' mother, who defied a king's decree to save her son. Her courage didn't just preserve a life, it birthed a deliverer. Your courage, your faith, your refusal to give up, they're birthing something greater. Chosen one, the justice from heaven is turning your defiance into deliverance, your stand into a story that will free others. You're not just fighting, you're forging a legacy. The judgment being released is a divine wave, washing over your life with unstoppable force. It's cleansing what's been tainted, renewing what's been broken, and preparing what's been delayed. You're not just receiving blessings, you're being immersed in them, saturated with God's favor. The justice from heaven is drenching your life in His goodness, making every moment a testimony of His love. Think of the centurion whose faith amazed Jesus. His simple trust moved God's hand, healing his servant and marking him as a man of authority. Your faith is moving God's hand now, chosen one. The justice from heaven is responding to your trust, bringing healing, restoration, and power to your life. You're not just believing, you're commanding, stepping into the authority God has given you. This moment is a divine turning point. The judgment from heaven is not just righting wrongs, it's rewriting possibilities. What you thought was out of reach is now within your grasp. The dreams you shelved, the hopes you buried, they're being resurrected. You're not just recovering, you're reimagining, seeing your life through the lens of God's limitless plan. Consider Ruth's mother-in-law, Naomi, who thought her story was over, but God's judgment turned her loss into gain, her sorrow into joy. You're standing in your own Naomi moment, chosen one. The justice from heaven is turning your endings into beginnings, your grief into glory. You're not just moving on, you're moving up, stepping into a story that shines with God's purpose. The judgment from heaven is a divine hammer, smashing every stronghold that's tried to contain you. Fear, doubt, shame, they're crumbling under the weight of God's verdict. You're not just being freed, you're being fortified, built into a fortress of faith that nothing can shake. The justice from heaven is making you unshakable, a pillar of God's strength in a trembling world. Look at Thomas, who doubted until he saw Jesus' scars. God's judgment didn't reject his doubt, it invited him to touch the truth. Your doubts, your questions, your hesitations, they're not pushing God away. The justice from heaven is drawing you closer, showing you the truth of His promises. You're not just questioning, you're discovering, finding a faith that's stronger than ever. This emergency update is a divine charge, electrifying your spirit with God's power. The judgment being released is not just clearing your path, it's empowering your steps, giving you the strength to walk boldly into your calling. You're not just receiving blessings, you're radiating them, becoming a source of light and hope. Your life is about to spark a revival in those around you. Think of Elizabeth, who carried a miracle in her womb despite her age. God's judgment didn't just give her a child, it gave her a prophet, John the Baptist, who prepared the way for Jesus. Your impossibilities are becoming miracles now, chosen one. The justice from heaven is birthing something extraordinary through you, something that will prepare the way for God's glory. You're not just waiting your womb to a miracle. The judgment from heaven is a divine compass, pointing you toward your true north. Every detour, every delay, every distraction, it's being corrected. You're not just finding your way, you're being guided, led by God's hand into a future that aligns perfectly with His plan. The justice from heaven is setting your course, ensuring every step you take leads to your destiny. Consider Jonah's Nineveh, a city doomed for destruction. But when God's judgment moved, it wasn't just about punishment, it was about redemption. The city repented, and God spared them. Your life is your Nineveh, chosen one. The justice from heaven is sparing what seemed lost, redeeming what seemed broken. You're not just being saved, you're being sent, commissioned to carry God's mercy to others. This moment is a divine awakening. The judgment being released is not just about justice, it's about revelation. God is opening your eyes to see His plan, your ears to hear His voice, your heart to feel His love. You're not just receiving blessings, you're receiving clarity, a vision of who you are and what you're called to do. The justice from heaven is illuminating your path, making every step sure. Look at Ananias, who hesitated to go to Paul, fearing his reputation. But God's judgment turned his fear into faith, his hesitation into history. You're standing in your own Ananias moment, chosen one. The justice from heaven is turning your fears into opportunities, your doubts into destiny. You're not just stepping out, you're stepping into a story that will echo through eternity. The judgment from heaven is a divine wind, blowing away the chaff of your past and planting seeds for your future. Every regret, every failure, every moment of weakness, it's being swept away. You're not just being cleansed, you're being cultivated, prepared for a harvest of blessings that will overflow. The justice from heaven is making your life fertile ground for God's miracles. Think of Hagar, alone in the desert, thinking she and her son would die. But God's judgment opened her eyes to a well of water, saving their lives and securing their future. Your desert moments are over, chosen one. The justice from heaven is opening your eyes to wells of provision, streams of hope. You're not just surviving, you're thriving, drinking deeply from God's goodness. This emergency update is a divine trumpet sounding the arrival of your breakthrough. The judgment from heaven is not just breaking chains, it's heralding your victory, announcing your rise. You're not just receiving blessings, you're being proclaimed, declared as God's chosen one, marked for greatness. Your life is about to resound with the music of His justice. Consider Andrew, who brought his brother Peter to Jesus with a simple invitation. His small act of faith changed the course of history. Your small acts, your quiet faithfulness, they're changing history too, chosen one. The justice from heaven is amplifying your influence, turning your steps into movements. You're not just following, you're leading, drawing others to God's light. The judgment being released is a divine blueprint, mapping out your future with precision. Every promise God has made, every dream He's planted, they're being drawn into reality. You're not just hoping for a better tomorrow, you're building it, following the plans God has laid out. The justice from heaven is your architect, ensuring every detail of your destiny is perfect.